All right, welcome to another episode of Medicine Mondays. I am yours truly, Dr. Davis-Pierre, your favorite board certified internist, host of Medicine Mondays on Dr. Davis-Pierre TV, as well as our other YouTube channel, Dr. Pierre's Health Checks. Make sure you are subscribed to not one, but both channels. And this week we have an amazing special guest, one who is very familiar to Medicine Mondays, as well as the Lunch and Learn podcast. We are able and blessed to have Maria Davis-Pierre. If that last name sounds familiar, yes, this is my wife, my better half, on the podcast today to really discuss, again, what the future holds for her company, Autism and Black. Maria, again, thank you for taking out time with your busy schedule, right, to grace us here on the Lunch Learn community.
Thank you for having me.
So again, the last time we spoke, it was just about the aspect of having what a beautiful conference, right? The Autism Black Conference. And now fast forward, we are already thinking about 2022. Right. But before we get into your business there, you've been out and about, the community really hasn't seen you much. Give a little inference on what's been going on with Maria Davis. And for those who, if this is their first time watching this, who is Maria Davis-Pierre, and what is Autism and Black?
So I am a licensed mental health counselor. So I'm a therapist. I am the CEO and founder of Autism and Black Inc. For those of you who know, we have two children who are autistic, but our oldest, Malia, who is 9, is the reason why Autism and Black exists. I created the company really to bridge the gap because Black parents don't really have that that organization that really looks at our needs, which are specific and which are different. So I created Autism and Black to bridge that gap and to really look out for Black parents like us who really didn't have the support we needed, knowing that it was different for us when Malia got her official diagnosis. So that's really what Autism and Black is. It's a support organization for Black parents to provide them with information, resources, advocacy, empowerment. And then on the flip side, we also train organizations to be more culturally responsive to the Black disability community.
And what's been amazing, obviously we've been, obviously I've been following New Jersey because I've been there, following your journey, really when it was just an idea. Mm-hmm. And kind of to fast forward now, when we talk about now that we are planning for the second, not the first conference, but the second conference, right? Could you have imagined yourself, being where you're at right now, especially in, going into the year 2022 when it first all started?
No, not at all. I did not think that the response was going to be as welcoming as it has been. And I think that just shows that there is such a huge gap out there for services for Black parents. There's only really 2 organizations that really cater to Black parents and Black families. So I think the response has been overwhelming, which I love. So, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing, once I get back fully on my feet, which you had asked about. So I did have, shortly after my first conference last year, earlier this year, I got sick, been having some problems. And then I just recently, about 3 weeks ago, had a surgery that pretty major surgery that has put me, in a chill mode for these last few weeks. So, we're trying to get back up and running. Definitely did not expect to have this kind of, response to my surgery. So knowing that I really had to sit down and just relax and rest and recuperate, it's been hard, but we are recovering. So soon you guys will see me back announcing what the actual conference theme is this year. I'm not going to announce it here for Dr. Barry, even though I know he probably wants that. I'm going to let my announce it on my page, and we'll go from there. But it's been a difficult recovery, but we're getting back to it.
So when we talk about having to sit down, right, for a little bit, right, like what What was that like? Because obviously you're ripping and running. What were some of the things you were doing, just obviously outside of your conference? That was kind of in the flow, because you kind of mentioned talking to like now organizations, not necessarily even talking to parents anymore.
Mm-hmm. I think for caregivers, it's really hard for us to just sit down and not do anything and not be involved in what's going on around us, especially when we have set up pretty much a schedule for our children and we know how important that schedule is, and then to hand that over to somebody else to to do it, it's really scary, or it provides a lot of anxiety. So I think that was a lot of what I was dealing with, because even though I was sitting and resting, I was still trying to make sure the schedule was still flowing. So I think for caregivers, it's really hard to just be like, okay, I'm just gonna, take 4 weeks off in surgery, recuperate, recover, and not be involved in the day-to-day goings of what's happening with my children. So I think that was the hardest thing to do. But luckily, I have a great support system. My parents came down. Of course, you are very involved. But I think it's just more mentally that control of letting go that was really hard.
And let's talk about some of the work you do with the businesses. What organizations and businesses do you work with, especially when you're talking about advocating for the Black family?
I work with pretty much any organization. I don't know if I can name specific organizations due to contract obligations, but I have worked with, organizations on just coming in and helping them to realize how they have to approach the Black disability community. Any organization that works with, or their community is 80%, 90% Black, but their actual board is 1% Black, if that's an issue. You should be reflecting what you're serving, the community that you serve. So, I come in and I really tell them about the Black disability community. We talk about racism and, systemic racism. We talk about how they can better serve. And it's basically taking them on a journey through how to better represent their organization to the Black disability community.
And by, obviously so is it trainings? Are you speaking? Like, what are you doing for these companies that help, get them to that next level that they need to be in?
It is a training. I have a culturally responsive training that I do. It's a 3-part series. And then sometimes they have their own conferences and I come in and speak. So it just depends on what the organization is looking for. It definitely can be tailored to each organization. If they reach out and, talk to us behind the scenes about what they're wanting, we can tailor it specifically to what their organization is looking for.
Perfect. So, as we move forward, the end of the 2021 is here, and we're starting to think about 2022, and we're starting to think about the conference now. What do we have to look forward to for next year's conference for someone who may not have been to the first one?
Oh, wow. We have made a lot of changes. I think for me, going into a lot of things, I really am always surprised by the overwhelming response that we get. So I was definitely overwhelmingly surprised by having over 300 people attend the first conference. So we're coming with a bigger and better platform for the conference attendees. It's going to be like attending a conference in person, but you're in the comforts of your own home. You're going to be able to log onto your platform, see the schedule, get information about the speakers. We have so much planned. Definitely having more sponsors this year. We have different things planned for our VIP guests. So it's going to be bigger and better than this year's conference, which is, always the hope, going in, you see the feedback, see the response, and you change and tweak things and make it different. We're definitely wanting more autistic speakers. That's what we're looking for. We want to have an autistic panel this year. So we are definitely going to be having our proposal call come out in the next couple of weeks as well. So you guys can go ahead, because I know people have been asking. We're going to get that out. So
yes, they have. That's that is for sure.
We're going to get that out so you guys can start filling out the proposal and submitting it. And then my team behind the scenes will be looking through those and deciding, who gets to be a speaker at the second annual Autism Black Conference.
And our kind of estimated time as far as, when was the first conference? What time of the year?
So the first conference was in April, but we're doing, since I've been out a while, we're going to push it back to, we're looking at June. When the proposals come out, we'll have a definite date on there so everybody will know, but we're looking at late June.
Okay, so we're looking to start accepting proposals, and again, you're looking for speakers, you're looking for panelists. Yes. And again, you kind of mentioned some of the feedback. What was some of the good feedback? And then you probably kind of hinted at it, but what's some of the improvements that they would have liked to see off of the first conference?
So the great, we mostly got, overwhelmingly great feedback of, that they have never experienced a conference that was just focused on us. And by us. So, everybody who planned the conference was Black. All of our speakers, except for 2, were Black. And I think it set up a safe space for our attendants, our attendees, which is what they were saying. They never experienced anything like it. They felt so safe, they felt at home, and they learned so much. And that's really was my goal, is to set up a safe space where defenses aren't up, to where you can learn and then use the information, because that's really what it's about. And I think we accomplished that goal. So it was overwhelmingly just positive feedback about how they just felt at home and felt so good, and really wanted it to extend way beyond, our 3 days. So that's always good as well. And then, of course, on the feedback too, in response of what we can do at our next one, is really having more autistic speakers, which I agree to. We just didn't have people filling out the proposals for this last year's conference. So that is really what happened, and really the reason why we didn't have a lot of autistic speakers. But I plan to tap into my resources, into my network, and really try to get more autistic speakers.
So before we let you go, I think especially when, and I talk about this a lot, especially here on the podcast and in the Lunchland community, just obviously, it's almost that analogy when you're on the plane, right? And you have to, put your oxygen mask on first before you can help others. Mm-hmm. Right here, you ran into some medical related issues, right? That kind of force you to have to put your oxygen on first, right? Before you can continue to serve your community at large. And obviously you're itching and ready to go back. But if we got so many people who are probably in this same boat, right, where they are the caregivers, they're taking care of the family, taking care of their kids, and a lot of times they don't necessarily take care of themselves. Like, what words of encouragement would you like to give out for those who are feeling overwhelmed, feeling burdened, and more importantly, actually feeling guilty, right, that they just want to sit down and relax for a little bit, maybe not 4 weeks, but at least just be able to say, like, and just kind of breathe on their own?
We really have to do it. In this case, I was forced to do it. It's been a long journey since April, getting to where I am now, and finally being like, okay, once I'm over this recovery hump, I am going to be ripping and running again. And hopefully those health problems will be gone, because that's what the surgery was for. We really have to take time out for ourselves. I'm all about self-care and taking intentional, meaningful time out for ourselves. And we really have to do it, because if we want to be, 100% of that parent, that spouse, anything that we do, if we want to put 100% into that, we have to be 100% ourselves. My friend Jasmine Poole, who was on my podcast, she had a great analogy. She was saying that, a lot of people do talk about the oxygen mask, but she is thinking of it as a cup that is filled with water. And the overfill is what she likes to give to everybody else, so that her cup always stays full. And that's what I am a believer of. We have to make sure that our cup is always full, so we can put into everybody else. Because being in the situation of being a caregiver, that's a 24/7 job that we're doing. Always trying to figure out the next move for your children, for your family, and it can get to the point where you're always in that mode. But we do have to take a step back and think for ourselves. And a lot of people may feel that is selfish. Okay, if that's the word they want to use, then that's fine. Be selfish, but you need to take care of you, because if you don't, then you get sick, and then you're down, and then then what? We don't want to get in a situation where it's really detrimental to our health.
And where can people find you? And first of all, as far as the themes are concerned, because you obviously put a poll up as far as 3 different themes that they could possibly choose from. What were those 3 different themes? So people have an idea of one of the 3 being chosen. And more importantly, when will they actually find out the theme that's chosen?
So the theme will be announced on Friday. And the 3 themes were
you're for those who obviously this is a podcast thing where your episode is likely going to come out. Give me a second. I don't want to say Friday and people are like, what Friday is she talking about? Oh, okay, so your episode at the time of recording will be coming out November 15th. So are you saying that the 19th is when you're going to be debuting?
So by the time this episode is airing, the theme will have already been announced. Okay. So I can actually probably just go ahead and tell y'all what the theme is on here.
You might, yes. So if you're gonna beat the podcast, yeah, you might. Let's talk to him.
So disregard what I said in the beginning, y'all. So the theme for this year, for next year's Autism in Black conference is culturally responsive parenting and advocacy. That is the theme that was overwhelmingly voted on. And it got the most votes. Do you want me to tell them what the second place one was?
What was the second place? Because honestly, the second place was mine. So tell them what the second place one was.
The second one was, oh my God, I just drew a blank on that.
Bridging the Gap.
No, that was the third one.
What was
the second one?
Oh, what was the second one?
I forgot. Let me.
So mine was third place then. Mine was third place.
Yes, yours was third place.
Y'all didn't choose mine. That's okay. I don't feel bad. And that's what I love about that is that we put the decision in the people who are going to be enjoying the experience, because we kind of went back and forth on like should we just decide, hey, this is going to be our theme? And we kind of went back and forth, and we were like, yeah, you know what? No, let's let our community, right, the Autism Black community, let's let them decide, the theme. And obviously they pretty overwhelmingly they drove home the fact that this is what they wanted to hear. And obviously this is great, because now when we're going to talk to speakers, now when we're going to talk to sponsors, we kind of have an idea like, hey, this is the theme of the conference. Hey, speakers, this is the theme of the conference. Make sure you kind of come with it.
Exactly. It was over 50% that chose the culturally responsive in advocacy and parenting theme. And then our second place one was cultivating the Black experience.
Oh,
It was really down between those two for a long time. And then people started voting for Bridging the Gap, which is really what to put the culturally responsiveness in first place. So that is our theme for 2022. And I'm excited about this theme because for me, that was my number one theme anyway. So it's nice to know that my my community is, we're on the same accord. And I think it's really where we should be going next, and thinking about how to be more culturally responsive in our parenting, in our advocacy, and how we live our life. Because being a Black parent is just so different for us. So I'm very excited to put that theme out. I'm very excited for those of you who are going to be, coming up with your conference proposals and all of the workshops that you plan to do around this theme. And I know that 2022 is going to be even better than 2021, which, is going to be hard, because I know I told Barry, I said, maybe we should just have this one conference because it was really amazing. He's like, no, you're not just gonna have.
We gotta keep going. We gotta keep going. I love it. So where can people find you? Where can people follow your links? If a business is watching, they're thinking about wanting to bring you on to kind of help them with their cultural competence, and working with excuse me if I'm saying it correctly, the disability in the Black community, or like what's the
culturally responsiveness by being more culturally responsive to the Black disability community.
Okay. Where can they find you? Where can they find you?
You can go to my website, www.autismandblack.org. There is a specific tab for that training on my website, and you just fill out that information and gets to us, and then we contact you. You can also follow me on Instagram at Autism and Black. I'm on Facebook at Autism and BLK. And I also have my podcast, which is gearing back up, and we'll be starting back in January. And that's the Autism and Black podcast. So go catch up on all those previous episodes before we start our new season.
I love it. All right. So again, for those, obviously, if you're a part of the Lunch Learn community, you've been a familiar voice pretty much since the beginning. By the time your episode comes out, it will be episode 199. So for persons who've been listening to the podcast, they've got to hear your voice 199 times. Introduce the Lunch and Learn with Dr. Barry podcast. Again, been so great, and obviously with all of the work that you've been doing, right, in your own right, in your own, all the publications and the organizations that you work with, it's still great to be able to kind of take back. And sometimes we're forced to relax, and sometimes we take the relaxing on our own. Obviously you're going to come back bigger, better, stronger. We're excited for what's to come. Theme is out, right? Get ready, speakers, get ready, sponsors, get ready. We're excited for what 2022 is coming. Again, thank you for joining Medicine Mondays as well as the Lunch and Learn podcast.
Thank you for having me.